Hello friends, welcome to Squaird Plans, where creative planning and organization comes to life. I'm Stephanie, and today we're going to be designing my faith planner for the month of May. We'll be setting up all my monthly and weekly pages in a classic happy planner, so come plan with me. And I've got some washi tapes here ready to go, along with this roll of PET tape stickers, these Tombow brush tip markers, these packs of die-cut butterfly stickers, this sticker sheet of faith quotes, and this Happy Planner sticker book, which I'll pull from. Okay, guys, so like I do every month, I'm going to be setting up all of the pages in my monthly planner for May. And there are 5 weeks in May this time around, so I'll start off with the weekly spreads, figuring out what decor we're going to have, and mock up all 5 weeks here on this one spread using some wax paper. So I went to Hobby Lobby before I left California and grabbed some faith quotes that I saw there while I was shopping around looking for good deals. And although I don't really love the gold on these quotes, I do love the simple words and the script font. So I went ahead and picked those up, and we'll see if I can get those used up here on this month's theme. I've also got this roll of PET tape from the washi tape shop that I've already started pulling in some items from. This PET tape is called, I want to say Spring Serenade, but I'm not 100% sure if that's the name. Everything that I'm using that has a link will be down below, and even if I can't find a link, I usually will at least list it in case you want to go on a hunt and find mission and try to find it yourself. Sometimes you can find things in random places like Mercari and eBay, sometimes Etsy, so I do try to give you as much information as I have on items in case you like something that you see. So I've brought that in, and then I've also got a couple of actual washi tapes from both the washi tape shop and Amazon, I think, are where I got most of those washi tapes. Focusing in on a blue-green theme. I did a brighter blue-green theme earlier this year and just really loved the feels of it, just like kind of the calming vibe of those colors. So I'm going to try to make that work with these various bird sticker sets that I have here within this roll and see if I can kind of pull out a color scheme, since these birds are all different colors, not one specific color scheme. So what I normally do is work out all of my weekly spreads here on the one layout so I can get a feel for what I have and how things are going to go on each spread. I only decorate that very top left box, which is the This Week box, and then the rest of the days of the week will be filled out each day with a verse of the day lettering that I do. I've been doing that for years. It's really just helped me kind of achieve what I wanted to with my lettering. I could get better, do some drills and stuff, but I'm pretty happy with where I'm at now with my lettering. So just kind of a constant practice of that skill. And then also I spend a little more time in the Word, which was a long-term goal of mine way back when. And so I'm just kind of maintaining that goal through lettering each day. I'm also not very focused on journaling. Journaling is totally not my thing. So this is the amount of commitment that I feel comfortable with, and will probably continue to do this as my faith planner focus on each week for the foreseeable future. So that said, you can kind of see me building out those clusters for each of the This Week boxes each week. Usually I have 4 to 5 weeks to work with, so since I have 5 this week, I'm just going to mock each one up, kind of get a feel for where things will sit. But of course, when I actually lay them down, it will be one cluster per week. When I theme out an entire month in one theme, I really focus on carrying through all of the elements on each of the pages, each of the spreads that I'm using. So here I'm building each cluster with a combination of a bird or two with sometimes a butterfly or some other element that kind of fills out the decor aspect. Then I'll usually have a quote word or phrase, and then the washi tape clusters that I'm making using that antique botanical black and white washi with this blue script washi and then the soft green washi in the solid. Those 3 items are my little washi cluster, and each cluster that I'm making will have all 3 or 4 of those elements. Like I said, it was a little bit difficult to pull out a color scheme out of all of the bird stickers and the florals and things that were on that roll. So I really just tried to pick out birds that had at least some element of either blue or green, aqua tone, that I felt tied okay with the washi tape to pull it together. I feel like that really helped unify things a bit too, because like I said, nothing really looked exactly the same when pulling the bird decor. And I think I've got some nice clusters here ready to go. So let's go ahead and start pulling things out and onto the individual spreads. Here I am going to adjust the positioning of that washi tape element. I'm going to move it farther down on the box just so that each of the boxes that I create will have a consistent feel. Also going to trim off where those washi tapes hit so that they don't bleed into the neighboring boxes. And then also trim off any excess that hangs off of the spread. So we've got the first week in. Let's move on to the second week. And I'm just going to layer up that washi tape real quick and then drop in that little bird cluster. Trim off a little bit of that excess, both on the outside of the page and on the inside. Moving on, we're moving on to week 3. Again, moving all of those washi tapes to the very bottom of the box for consistency to make it look the same from week to week. I will say that the PET tape, which I love having that like multiple aspect of the roll, is great, but it's very thin. So while it's great for layering, it's also a little bit delicate. And I have ripped the stickers trying to pull them off the wax paper. Also too, it's just sometimes they bubble up a little bit when I'm placing them down because it is so thin. It's like trying to keep everything flat and straight sometimes can be challenging. If you start from the middle and work your way out, usually it's pretty good. But when you have a bunch of PET layered stickers on top of each other, you just got to be kind of careful with moving things and the adjustment. Thankfully, this tape that I've had from the washi tape shop has never given me any issues with repositioning. So even if something doesn't quite lay down how I want it to, I can usually pick it up without any problems and get a nice clean lift to reset. So we've got all 5 weeks in. We kind of know where we're going now with the decor. So let's figure out how we're going to do the monthly. I'm going to pull maybe a quote or two for this spread, try to figure out where I want those and how I want to organize the decor. I use this spread for a short kind of summary of my daily Bible reading. Again, I mentioned earlier, I'm not a big journaler, so I use this spread, just that little box per day is about all I need for what I call the takeaway, or basically that little summary application that I can pull into my life from my daily reading. Because of that, I pretty much need all of the space in the boxes, so I'm going to focus most of my decor in the sidebar and or the empty days of the month. That's usually where I can get the most bang for my buck without sacrificing functionality. So we've got a couple of days at the front of the month, Monday or Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then one on Saturday at the end of the month. And I'll repeat those elements I had done on the previous spread with the washi tape layering and, of course, one of the PET tape birds or multiples of those. And then we'll add in that quote I have kind of set to the side there, ready to go. I did earlier pull this little bird from the Happy Planner sticker book. Thought I was going to use more of the birds from there, but because I really settled on this green and blue color scheme, most of the birds on that, I think it's maybe Garden Flowers sticker book, just didn't quite match up. They were a little too bright or a little bit not right as far as the color scheme. So I didn't end up using those, but there are some birds in there. In case you want to do a similar theme and you don't have this PET tape, just note that you can really get a similar look with the birds in there. You might just have to adjust your color scheme a bit if you happen to have that book. So I decided to use these, I think they're bluebirds. I'm not very good with bird names either. Some people are really good with like plant names and birds and even butterfly names, those kind of things. Not me, okay? I really enjoy watching nature, but I do not maintain that information in my head long term. So anyway, these cute little blue birds, we'll just call them bluebirds, are going to be the focus here. I'm also stripping down some of that washi tape in the blue, using basically the scraps that I had from ripping it down for the other areas of the spread to try to add some more color here within the monthly days. And like I said, I use this functionally, so I don't know if this is going to be a good idea, but I'm going to try it. And, it's still on the wax paper, so if I change my mind, I haven't committed yet to the page, so there's no worries there. I'm also ripping down the green washi just so that the washi tape isn't too thick, too high profile, minimizing the usage of space that it requires in those areas. And I like this, but I feel like I want a bit more decor. So I'm going back into that Happy Planner sticker book just in case there's some element I want to bring in, something that's kind of full that I can put maybe in the sidebar. Didn't really find what I was looking for, so I'm going to go through some of those packs of butterflies that I pulled. Maybe I can do a little vignette of butterflies and some of the florals from the PET tape. See if I can make that work. And I thought these blue butterflies would work the best, but just kind of seeing how bright they are next to the somewhat duller tones of the blue that's in the washi tape, trying to change my mind on those. Went back to the PET tape and tried to find some other elements to bring in. So I grabbed a dragonfly for this edge over here at the top, and then also another floral element, kind of matching up with the pink florals next to the bird already. I did something similar down below, but using some blue. I think it's supposed to be roses, but I really am not too sure about that. So I put it there because I thought it might work, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to end up changing that out before we move on from this spread. It just looks a little bit too dark and just not right. So we will figure something else out if need be. And like I said, I just wanted some more decor, specifically here in the sidebars, to give a bit more color and interest to the spread. I took a cue from the additional pink and white floral that's there at the top next to the bird, and I'm bringing in some other florals, but more in the pink tones, just so that I can fill out the space. And then I grabbed a light blue-green colored butterfly that I think matches well with the softer green tones that are there in the washi tape. And there you can see me switch out those roses for another kind of pink-white toned floral on the other bird. And I feel like that really helped just unify the look of this spread as a whole. And okay, we're going to drop this in. So we're going to start with this corner I just built in the sidebar. And then we'll move on to this top section, but then I realized I need to still white out those black lines that separate out those empty days to give a nice clean look. So we'll do that with my Jelly Roll white pen, which I use very frequently, pretty much in every spread I do decor on. I usually use that to white out something behind a sticker or where I feel like there's going to be a need for a clean look behind. So that's one of my favorite planning things. You'll find that down below as well in the video description if that is totally new to you. So I dropped in that top cluster that I made, which I think looks really cute, and trimmed off any excess. And then we will drop in this little one down here at the bottom. Sorry that that's off camera. Kind of lost track of how low I was there on the video. And so I still had those washi tape sections to move over, but really just decided I was going to pen in the section I usually make for writing in the verses that I read every day. And I liked that instead. I just knew I was going to have enough room there to do it without the washi tape. So decided to use that washi tape somewhere else and just use the brush pens I pulled in order to add some extra color to the spread without sacrificing that functionality. Also need to clean out that hole that I just covered with those PET tape stickers, so did that real quick with my precision cutter and my Daiso mat. And we will move on to the last spread and a half that I have to do here. My overview spread, which is my faith overview. This is a unique spread to my shop, and it is faith oriented with a space for some habits to track. I like to track like my morning prayer and my daily reading, my lettering, and then that application I mentioned earlier that I do on the monthly. We have a space for a prayer list, which I just use as a running list throughout the month. And then you have a nice big open grid space on the other side and some currently prompts, which are faith oriented. So you can kind of check in with your spirituality and where you're at with your walk with the Lord. I like that it is a non-committal way to really practice your faith on a monthly basis and not be too overwhelmed by all that needs to be done. that was one of the things that really used to steer me away from faith planning, is that it just felt like a lot of work. So having this one spread per month is just the right amount of commitment. Again, I told you guys I'm not a big journaler, so writing a bunch of stuff in is just not my style, but I do really like having some form of spiritual check-in every, month, week, whatever it is that I'm in need of at some point, so that I keep on track, if that makes sense. So that is what this overview is all about. And I am setting it up here with some decor areas in the more open side of the spread. There's a nice open area here at the top without any dot grid, and then there's also some on the left, and then on the right there's just a nice open area where I'm going to bring in some more decor as well. Okay, so I'm laying in those same elements that I did on all of the spreads, creating these clusters with each of those elements, the birds, the quote, and the washi clusters with the 3 different colors. I am using slightly smaller sizing on the washi tapes on this spread, just because I had a lot of extra of the blue and I wanted to use that up. And then it just makes it a little bit less in your face, a little less busy by doing like half sizes of these. So I've ripped down the green in half, the blue is like a third of the washi, and then the vintage butterfly washi I ripped down in half as well. So I've added those elements to the overview spread, and now we are working on the last page, which is my month end notes page. But I've used this in various ways this year, trying to find something that I'm really happy with. This month I think I'm just going to do a kind of random gratitude. I've done that. I've done the Bible study of like a single person from the Bible, the weekly challenge, and I've also done how God is working in my life. So a few different options that you could do that I've been doing this year. Like I said, I'm just going to do a simple gratitude for this month and write in things that I'm grateful for as they come up. So a very low pressure, somewhat low commitment style of spread. Again, just so I don't get overwhelmed, because there is a lot to do. I mean, I have a daily reading, I have a daily writing, I have the monthly check-in with the habits every day, and it's, it can become a lot if you're like me and you have a busy lifestyle. So I've definitely built up to this, but I think that this is a doable amount of work for me in my faith planner each morning without being too much. Like I said, I just created some clusters there for the back page. I think that's going to really do it for us. Let's go ahead and start moving things over and get things onto the spread. Sneak in this washi tape behind the stickers I laid down. Just wanted to make sure I had enough room, so I laid those down first instead of doing the washi. I'm just doing a little trim out there. Go ahead and move over this bottom cluster. I've really stuck with more of a diagonal style on these spreads, so a lot of times I'll work in threes because that usually really helps the spreads look more organic. But this time around, I kept things very symmetrical, but kind of top left, bottom right, or top right, bottom left, and then kept things on even numbers so that it would be more of a symmetrical feel to the spread. Just a design approach if you are building out spreads as well. There's a number of ways you can do it. So on this one, I kept it symmetrical and stuck with the even numbers. I'm already laying in the stickers onto that overview spread. I'm going to use that extra trimming there on the top left just to help fill that out a little bit more. That worked out really nice. Go ahead and drop in the rest of these washi clusters and stickers. Trying to pick it all up at once just so that it does not separate for me. This is a good example of where the PET tape wanted to kind of bubble, so I separated it myself and made it a little bit easier to lay it down. I'll also lay in some highlighter here into the habit trackers. Get my prayer list started with a bullet, and then also underline the this month prompt in the currently area. And I think that's going to do it for us, friends. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up down below. Also, too, go ahead and leave me a comment if you'd like to get in touch. And think about subscribing to my channel if you haven't already, if you'd like to see more of my videos. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you next time. Bye!